Good morning, broadcasters, and welcome to another episode of 360 Seconds with the latest news and commentary for broadcast professionals. My name is Mark Sindikov, and I'm here today on behalf of TKT 1957. Let's discuss the latest technological news with our respected expert, Philip Grossman. Don't forget to give our program a like. Philip. Today, our focus technology that we're discussing alongside our other trends that I'd want to start off with is the Canon dual fisheye lens. Canon has introduced its latest innovation, the RFS 3.9mm f3.5 STM dual fisheye and APS-C virtual reality lens. I wanted to hear your impressions and thought on this technology.
Certainly. So this is I know it's not necessarily second generation, but it is a second lens of this type that Canon has released. The first lens being a full frame version of, which I thought was very interesting when it came out. So um, doing VR in the past was very difficult. It was two cameras. They have to be the right ocular distance. You have an interesting mount. You got to make sure everything's synced. This enables you to have a single camera to create the 360 and 360 is 144 degrees and in 3D on a single mirrorless camera. A big part of this is that the cameras have now jumped, their video resolutions have jumped to roughly 8K. That's sort of been where, 4K per eye is sort of the optimal. It'd be better to be 8K per eye. So I think this is really interesting that they've come out within the EFS mount or the RFS mount, the equivalent, which is the sort of the crop sensor factor, which means it's going to be smaller cameras. So you can get these into unique areas to create and capture this 360-degree or this VR environment. I can see this becoming sort of a favorite of aerialists, drone operators who want to put smaller cameras onto their systems and still be able to capture sort of that VR 3D look. So it's interesting technology. I'm going to actually start playing with the full frame version in a while. So I'll let you know what I come up with.
Awesome, that's really cool. Another topic of discussion that I have today is a solution by Insta360. And we're talking about the Go 3S, a thumb-sized camera that maintains the GO3's compact form factor while incorporating significant upgrades, including actually a capability to shoot in 4K. What are some of the breakthrough qualities that you see in this technology
Well,
described
well,
by
there,
Insta360?
yeah, there are lots and lots of action cams on the market, and what's unique, I think, in this situation is that they're getting smaller and smaller, and so again, part of storytelling is adding a perspective you may not normally see, set somebody a little off balance and draw them in, or allows you to get into a perspective that another human being would be able to get into, but you wouldn't be able to necessarily get into with the human and the camera. So I think that's really sort of the interesting thing about the Go 360s. It's just its compact size. And the ability to shoot 4K now. And you'll hear people wanting to go 4K 60, but 4K 24 fits into a film look, and you can stick those cameras anywhere and really have a multi-location, multi-view shoot. So it's interesting to see them keep pushing this and making these things smaller and smaller. Pretty soon they'll be like spy cameras.
Wow, and that's really, really crazy. The final technology that I wanted to discuss with you today was something that Blackmagic Design has come out with. They've recently teased us with the development of a new camera, which is the URSA or the URSA Cine Immersive, designed to capture content for Apple Vision Pro. Now, Apple Vision Pro is a breakthrough technology, and I want to hear what are your opinions on the URSA camera designed by Blackmagic Pro.
Yeah, it's one of those things when you look at Apple, Apple is a driver of industry trends. They're not always the first. They weren't first with the smartphone. They weren't the first with the tablet, but they sort of sit back and their engineering, development, UI teams, human interaction teams really seem to understand the market. And so they're the first to really come forward with something I think is going to drive the adoption of VR. We've had the Oculus Rift, I think Meta had something. Everybody's sort of making these helmets, these systems. but it hasn't been real easy to capture the content. And just like we saw with the Canon lens and this camera specifically, because it is a 12K camera, so it's getting much closer, 6K per eye, so it's getting closer to that 8K target, is really going to make it easier to create this kind of content. And from what I understand, they worked with Apple in developing this camera to fit into their ecosystem, which means that I'm now going to have a product that I can give to filmmakers to go and capture content, because content is king. You need that to drive your product offering. And for Apple, the visual computing portion of it's very interesting, but the entertainment aspect of it, I think, is what's really going to be amazing. And by having a solution that effectively I can put on a set of sticks and shoot like I'm shooting a regular film, but have that immersive capability, is really going to drive a lot of content, hopefully adoption. And I can't wait till that we see the next generation of the Apple Studio or headset, not the Pro version Vision, but the regular Vision.
Beautiful. And then just to summarize on everything that we've discussed today, I wanted to ask you one last detail, and that is about the overall trend that I've noticed this week with virtual reality VR technologies. What are your thoughts on everything that's going on the market?
Yeah, so I think we've seen this starts and spits and spats of VR over the years, that the tech hadn't quite been there. I think even Apple with its Vision Pro understands that it is not fully optimized. They've been looking for tech to scale all this down, but they couldn't wait any longer. And of course, they are a market driver. And I think that their Vision Studio is really something that now the competition is going to look at. We're going to have more headsets come out. I think we'll eventually get to a standardized sort of format for the material, and you're going to see that adoption happen. I don't know if it's going to be the same as 3D television. That sort of came and went. There's a lot more opportunities for that immersive feel with VR. I can think of like concerts and boxing matches, and it's going to be a great market for pay-per-view when they can figure out how to stream that content to a headset, and I can sit at home and watch a concert. So it's exciting. I'd say we're probably 36 months before we sort of see it become, I won't call it mainstream, but much more in the mainstream.
Perfect. Perfect. And I would agree with you. Anyways, this is our time to wrap up. I would like to say thank you again to our expert, Philip Grossman. Don't forget to comment on the news we discussed. Leave us a like, leave us a follow, and a subscription. We try really hard, and we would like to see everybody next Monday at the same time. Thank you and goodbye.
Bye bye.